Bill Parker, Parker Outdoor Adventures. What a beautiful day here in West Tennessee. We finally got rid of the rain for a little while, and it's about 60 degrees outside. It's a great day for an adventure. But today, we're going to talk about something different. We're talking about leadership. Specifically, we're going to cover this few chapters out of this book called Legacy by James Kerr. We're going to cover chapters 11, 12, and 13. And hopefully, we'll show a little outdoor adventure at the same time, so we can tie this together and keep it interesting for everybody. So, thanks for joining us, Parker Outdoor Adventures. Stick around. Let's have a good time. This could be interesting. There we go. So if we start talking about chapter 12, or excuse me, chapter 11, it talks about sacrifice. And the book talks about how many of the players on the All Blacks sacrificed individually for the greater of the team. It talks about injuries they played through, things they gave up for the betterment of the team, for the team to win a championship. So when I think of sacrificial leadership for the betterment of the good, giving up a body part or an injury at work doesn't sound like something I want to do for the team. But I think in this aspect of it, we can think about some of the great athletes like LeBron James, who gave up millions of dollars on a contract just so he could play with the Miami Heat, and they could afford other great players to play with him, like Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They all sacrificed millions of dollars so they could play together as a team and win a championship. And, well, we know what happened with that. They came through. So the sacrifice of the leadership of that team resulted in a victory and a championship for everything. So that's what this book, as far as chapter 11 on sacrifice, is talking about, how we can, as leaders, sacrifice individually for the greaterness or the betterment of the entire organization. I've got some personal experiences with that in my career out at Kellogg and Procter & Gamble. I worked with an engineer named David Cohen about 10 years ago, and David was a what I would consider a servant leader. Many times David gave credit for success on projects that he really deserved the credit for, but he wanted other people to get credit for. And anytime something didn't work out, he was always willing to take blame. So his legacy to us, and everyone still talks about him, is how much of a servant leader he was, what a great sacrifice he made for teams, and his legacy still lives on. Getting a little windy here. I'm going to cut this section and move on to another adventure. Stay tuned. Got more to come. Maybe it's water too much. What do you think, boy? No fish today. Chapter 12 is about creating a language within your organization. A language that represents your legacy. So what kind of language do we have in our organization in the Cracker Bakery of Jackson, Tennessee? Well, my son, Will, is in the United States Marine Corps. And the book actually mentions the Marine Corps as having a language of their own. So you might hear one Marine say to the other, "Semper Fi," or "Once a Marine, always a Marine." And it may sound kind of corny, but I'm going to tell you, anybody that's been a Marine, that means a lot to them. That is their sacred cultural language that they don't share with anybody else. And it really brings meaning and deep core value to their organization. So I sometimes wonder how we could develop a language within our organization. We often use the phrases world class or high performance, but do we really mean that? I'll give you an example. Some of our safety performance at work, as far as SPA completion, BOS completion, we're world class. We tell our people that we're world class level on some of these things, and yet I don't get the feeling that our organization feels like they're world class. I think we need to start taking little victories like that and driving home that we're on the path to being a world-class organization. So this time we'll pause the video and have a little discussion, and I'd like for everybody else to kind of come up with maybe some phrases, mottos, or something that we could start driving home to our organization as leaders, and then to the people on the floor that are really facing the battles every day. What words and phrases can we drive into their daily work to create our culture? Two-wheel drive. How many of you thought I wasn't going to make it? Never give up on the rancher, baby. Woo! Heart out, John Wagner. Yeah, there can be more than one beefcake in the organization. I'm claiming my place. Chapter 13 is about ritualizing into excellence in your organization. So how do we ritualize? How do we ingrain our values into our organization through rituals? One idea I came up with was our safety culture is so deeply ingrained, but we still need to move it forward. I thought that perhaps at the end of every team meeting, we might stand up and recite our safety values. Nothing we do today is worth getting hurt. Every accident can be and should be prevented. We're all responsible for each other's safety. We look out for each other today. I don't know, what else? You know, we can cheer, we can celebrate, we can go out and do things, but we need to develop some rituals in our organization to encompass what we want to be our legacy. Let's cut now. I have a little discussion because, quite frankly, I can't think of anything else to say on this chapter. Well, everybody, I hope you've had a great time today on Parker's Outdoor Adventures. It's been fun. We did a little four-wheeling, a little fishing. Fish aren't biting. The lake's too muddy. Did a little wood chopping and did a little boating around. It's a beautiful day outside. But today we were talking about the book Legacy by James Kerr. We talked about sacrificial leadership. We talked about creating your own language to create a legacy with, and then we also talked about rituals, how to ritualize and actualize your legacy. So to close us today, I wrote a little song called Legacy, and I'd like to, dedicate it to Greg Jackson. Legacy, oh, what's your legacy? Got hired by a man named Gregory, working in the Jackson Cracker Bakery.